Hello. So, welcome back. Today we are going to have a conversation about things that were on my wish list 10 years ago that are finally now mine. So, just picture it. It's 2016. I'm 29. I was working 3 jobs ago. And I'll be honest, I wasn't very happy. I was dressing in a way because I worked in an office that was very business casual, emphasis on the business, and with somebody who has a very individual style while still retaining to being courteous to rules. I lost a lot of my personality having to blend in. And it was 2016. The previous 6 years had completely shaped and changed the way we consume, read, and digest fashion. Because between 2009 and 2012, we had this massive upsurge of individuals blogging, people talking about their fashion, and the focus on where the fashion trends came from shifted from the mainstream catwalks and written magazines through to things like Tumblr, people's blogs, people vlogging. You had the rise of YouTube beauty, whole host of things, and it changed the landscape and gave us a lot of people like Victoria McGrath from In the Fro and Lorna Lux, all amazing people. Anyway, I remember being in the midst of a house renovation and never having any money, traipsing on 4 buses a day to get my butt to and from work with my Topshop bags. R.I.P. the original Topshop. We loved her. Still do. I still have several Topshop bags and lots of their clothes from back in the day. Anyway, these 3 beautiful bags were very much the thing in 2016. And I've had a project over the last few years where I have been working to find versions of things that were all the rage that I wanted at the time that actually still even now resonate with me. And among those things at the time were an Alexander McQueen skull scarf, which I have in a beautiful peach and navy. I have the silk version. And I also have the Alexander Wang Diego bag in black leather with rose gold hardware, which I love. So my secret is I buy things damaged, dirty, whatever, and I will fix them and clean them. And if I can't personally fix them, I have people who can. So these are all purchased from the sales section of a consignment store called Label Source. And all of these bags were under £300 and are beautiful, but required something doing to them. So I'm going to walk you through each of them and what I have. So first up we have, and I've already talked about this beauty, the Soho Disco. I discovered this bag in 2016 because of somebody who I've referenced multiple times called Anna. There are very few people who influence me, and she's one of those people. She has a very simple, very minimalistic way of dressing that's very in line with who she is. The pieces she wears make me go, oh my God. And the thing is, I'm not that kind of minimal put together person. I have a very loud, eccentric way of dressing, and I've always kind of struggled with the idea of uniforms and things because I always like to make things my own, not in a I'm in an individual kind of way, just because I like color, I like textures, I like layers, I like fun things. Anyway, this bag was really popular primarily in leather, red, nude, and black. There were loads of dupes. I had a hankering for this bag a few months ago, and it's one of those. I have a black leather version. There's an Italian company that makes their own version of popular bags. I have this without the tassel or any logos in black leather. I love, and I can switch out the straps and stuff. It's very cool. Anyway, I found this. This was absolutely filthy. Smelt very strongly of perfume. The lining was stained with makeup. So one of the hardest things to clean this was cleaning the lining, because you can't easily pull the lining out and you can't turn the bag inside out because of how it's structured. And we did suffer quite a lot of colour loss, as these are very pigmented bags, and it swayed. Anyway, cleaned the lining, got the makeup out, repaired the holes, because I know how to sew. And I've already detailed the cleaning process, but, took an old school rubber, got a lot of the marks off, and then went at it with a crepe brush, a wire brush, and professional suede cleaner. And it actually came up very beautiful. Yes, it's a 10-plus-year-old bag, but actually, for the condition, she's beautiful. Next up, we have the very famous Chloe Drew. I've only ever seen the sister of this bag in person, which is a padded version. The hardware probably needs some love, and I found somebody who is willing to replate the hardware as and when, but this is a very beautiful kind of peachy tan. The main thing this needed was a really thorough, deep clean for the leather. That was a saddle soap job. Really enjoyed getting that all cleaned up. It's got beautiful leather. The bag's got a beautiful suede interior. I'll also talk you through all of the prices when I'm finished. The most recent addition to my bag collection, and something I've never had before. So this is from the Gucci Marmont line. This was popular at the same time the disco was. You've probably seen this infamous gold logo on belts all over the world. And I remember wanting this bag so desperately. They actually had a shoulder version in velvet in a similar blue to the Soho Disco. And TK Maxx had a chevron pattern of in that shape and colour, but that kind of thing in velvet, which I think I had at one point. It was very lovely. I just happened to like the style. So this is my most recent addition. And I've never had velvet like this. So this bag was not in as good a condition when it arrived. So this, again, the lining was very stained and misshapen. The lining is actually meant to be a coral pink, and it was like an orangey colour. Once I'd washed all the foundation out, it kind of went pink again. But the thing with this is the velvet needed a serious colour refresh. And I've learned that these are actually a cotton-based velvet. So what I had last Sunday, I had my hand in a very large vat of dye with this bag swimming in the dye, and we restored the I restored the colour back into the bag using a Dylon hand dye. The only downside of doing that is it does mean the lining is now chocolate brown. However, the only downside of that, sorry, I was using this bag yesterday. Only downside is it does mean I had to, one of the corners of the lining had popped, but I have since fixed that. But this has leather on the inside to give it structure. The leather has been reconditioned, and the leather was trying to split a bit, so I've had to refinish the leather in several places. But overall, it just needed, it's had a foam clean with a surface cleaner. It's had a good brushing over. And I've used, it's not something I'd ordinarily use, but it's just to stop any further damage. I use a leather resealer that's black, and what I've done is I've just gone over the edges where there's been a lot of wear. Nothing overly noticeable, but I've just done one layer to really just kind of reinforce the corners, because the thing is the corners are still quite worn anyway, and there's really no way to replush velvet. Once it's worn down, it's worn down. But what it's done is it's given the colour back to the bag, and the bag looks refreshed. And the thing is, I promised you I'd go through all of the prices. So this was $250 plus $9.99 delivery. This was $120 plus $9.99 delivery. And this was $130 plus $9.99 delivery. Label Source has a sales section. If you want to find a bag and have a go at giving it a clean, do that. I'd highly recommend. It means you can have a bag of your dreams. That's how I've been able to afford these. That is actually genuinely my secret of how I've been able to afford a lot of beautiful vintage pieces over the years, is I buy things in slightly less than desirable condition, and I've learned how to fix and clean, and I have friends like a professional cobbler who can do bits and pieces I can't do. So it is worth it. I mean, for instance, like last summer, they repaired and replaced the handles on one of my Louis Vuittons. So it is definitely worth it if it's the bag of your dreams and you're willing to make a slight compromise, and you also learn how to look after your bags. So I thought I'd share these beauties with you. Thank you for watching. Have a fabulous day.